Otieno here, and welcome to our 7th tutorial in the CS series. And in this video, I will show you how to configure your application to work with the database. So I'll just switch to my IDE, and before I show you guys how to handle that, I need to clean up this kind of mess because I'm not going to need the handle some request function. Example view, well, no, yes. Do I leave it here? Let it go down. I don't think I'll use it again. And maybe I can just tell myself that I don't need to cross this line over here. So let me go ahead and comment this one out here with end of writable area. Okay. So to configure your database, just come to the configuration file and then look for this file here called database.php. So here is where you're going to put all your login credentials to access your database. So you have the database name that you're going to use, the password, the username, and then the host name. So I'm going to create a database called training, and then my password here. Let me configure my PHP, my admin, or my SQL server, and then get you all these details. So let me undo this one first, and then I'll have to come to access your PHP my admin. Just come to localhost. Okay, localhost /php my admin, or just come to localhost, and then you'll find the link here, the PHP my admin link here. So the default user is root, and then currently I don't remember setting a password for my, oh, that's too crazy of me. So guys, I want you to change your password to something that you feel like to secure your database. Okay, just click on this link here and then change your password. But for those guys who like command lines, let me go ahead. Oh, before I handle anything on my command line, I want you guys to go ahead and grab yourself a copy of MySQL Workbench. It's open source and a bit professional to work with. So just come into your browser and then search for MySQL Workbench, and then just grab yourself a copy and install. Then you can provide the password that you'll change here to access your PHP my admin professionally. That is done. So I want to change my password using a command line, and I'll just go ahead and use MySQL command line client. Just hit enter because I currently don't have a password, and then I'll show databases that are currently installed, and I can see I have MySQL database installed here. So I'll just go ahead and change my database to MySQL because it's the current database that contains our login credentials to PHP my admin, or to the MySQL server, that is PHP my admin, okay, which runs MySQL as well. It comes pre-installed. So I'll just go ahead and switch and change my database to MySQL, and to do that I'm going to say use MySQL database change. I can show tables, and there's this table here called the users. So I want to change my password that is contained in the users table. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just to let me describe user, and then we have several variables here, and there's this field here called authentication string. In the earlier versions of MySQL, it's that's the phpMyAdmin. It used to be password field. Now it's authentication string. So I'll go ahead and update my user, and the syntax that I'm going to use to update my user is update. I want to update this field right here, so update user, okay, and then I'll set authentication string, authentication underscore string is equal to authentication string again, right? Now is equal to password in uppercase, password, and then I'll open my parentheses and then pass in my next password, the next password that I'm going to use. And let me use Kenya, K3 capital N Y at, that's Kenya. I'm not setting Kenya because I'm a proud Kenyan, not any other thing. I mean, being proud of your country is just one crazy thing to do, because I mean, you don't choose the location that you're being born in, just some kind of geographical accident. So I'm not setting my password to Kenya because I like my country or any other thing. So just go ahead and choose a password for yourself. So so I'll update my authentication string, and then where user is equal to root. Query okay, one row affected, one warning, blah 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 blah, and then the rest just history. So that's the way to change your password using the command line. So the next thing here is just to make sure that you update your privileges. So I'll go ahead and say flash privileges for everything to take effect. Good, now we are running. So I'll use the password that I just created here, that is K3NYX. So you guys remind me next time in the comment field that I forgot my password. Just mark this. Okay, K3 capital NYA. So I'll go ahead and provide this in my configuration file. So I say K3 capital N lowercase y and X. So that's my password. Okay. My username, I'll stick to root because that's the default user, and it's the default user that I've updated its password. So and then my host name here is a local host. Good, now everything is set. So I'll just go ahead and create a database. Go ahead and create a database here, and the database I'll use throughout the training session. I'll just name it training to make everything simple. And then the first problem here is I updated my password, so I don't think if this will run unless if I provide the current credentials. So I'll just go ahead and close this one out, and then now I have to provide my password, and currently at K3, capital N, Y, lowercase that is, and 8. So the genetical accident pride, not even the genetical, the geographical. So save this one to my vault. Do I really have to? Well, no, yes, yes, no, no, I'm not going to save it. Then still come back and access it, so it's working. Password I've updated, and so you can create your database, the training database, and to do that you just use the create command. So create database, and then the database name. No, let's use this one. Let's create this one from either phpMyAdmin or either phpMyAdmin or MySQL Workbench. I'm going to use MySQL Workbench to create the training database. So create database training, and then I'll change to the database, use the database, use training. Good, because I'm going to use the database. So go ahead and run this script. I'll use shift and enter, or you can just run it. So training, so use the database training. Yeah, you can run this and then you get the error because the database already exists. So you can say create database if not exist, training, so that you first check if the database is existing, and if it's not existing, then you go ahead and create it. Okay, so let me do shift enter again. Let me go ahead and run this script here, execute, and everything is now working. So refresh this and create database if not exist training was not happening. I don't see my database here. Oh, training is down here. I was just being observant. So so I've already created the database training and provided it in my configuration. So that alone will let you use the database. Our application is fully configured, and the next thing that you can do is just to load our models. Now we can work with our models, okay? Because the models expect us to be using database somewhere. So I'll just go ahead and load models as an array of models. So this load model, and then I'll create an array of models. If I'm going to load only one model, I can go ahead and just do something like main model and then close this one here. But because I may end up working with several models, I can just go ahead and create an array of models. Okay, array, and then I'll include the main model here. If you're going to work with the model that we created, that is example model, you can include it here, but I'm not going to, so I'm just going to leave it out till I create another well thought out model, then I'll include it right here. Okay, so that will work. So that is how to configure your application to use your database. And as a recap, come to your database.php file under configuration. Provide your host name, your username, your password, your the database that you are going to use, and currently we are going to use training. And if I drop let me see application here. Okay, it's working well, but if I go ahead and drop this and drop the database training, drop database training, if I run this command and drop the database, come back here and load this one here, we'll have an error already here because our system cannot access the database that we have defined for it to use. So let me just go ahead and run the script and load the page, so we are set to go. So why don't I meet you guys in the next tutorial as I try to create a table that we will use to validate the login page here. See you then. Subscribe.